Aloha kako. Welcome to the hearing for the Committee on Agriculture and Food Systems. Today is February 3rd, 9 a.m., and we are convening in room 325. Today we have with us Vice Chair Kahaloa, Reps Peruso, and Reps Cochran. Before we get started, I'm going to go over some brief housekeeping rules. First, there's a 2-minute time limit per testifier in order to allow as many people to testify as possible. In the interest of time, if you have submitted testimony on time, our committee has received it. If you wish to present oral testimony, please summarize your written testimony. For testifiers attending over Zoom, please keep yourself muted and your video off while waiting to testify and after your testimony is complete. Zoom chat function will allow you to chat with the technical staff only. Please use the Zoom chat for technical issues. If you're disconnected unexpectedly, you may attempt to rejoin the meeting. If disconnected while presenting testimony, you may be allowed to continue if time permits. Please note the House is not responsible for any bad internet connections on the testifier's end. In the event of catastrophic network failure, it may be necessary to reschedule the hearing or schedule a meeting for decision making. In that case, an appropriate notice will be posted. Please refrain from profanity or uncivil behavior. Such behavior may be grounds for removal from the hearing without the ability to rejoin. Lastly, if time permits, we will offer the opportunity for walk-in testimony. For those who would like to testify in person but did not sign up, please make sure to provide your contact information to the clerk sitting to my right-hand side against the wall. We will now begin the hearing for the bills that we have on the agenda today. And first bill we have is HB 1348. And the first testifier we have is the Department of Agriculture.
Good morning, Chairperson Gates, Vice Chair Kahaloa, members of the committee. My name is Sharon Hurd. I'm the nominee for Chairperson, Department of Agriculture, and the department supports this bill with comment. And the comment is that better clarification of the use of the label terms in the original statute will help enforcement of the law. The words foreign-grown macadamia nuts, for instance, with a percentage of product by weight, may be clearer than listing all the foreign countries that it's from. Thank you.
Mahalo. Next testifier we have is Hawaii Farm Bureau.
Morning, Chair Gates, Vice Chair Kahaloa, members of the committee. Brian Miyamoto here on behalf of the Hawaii Farm Bureau. You do have a written testimony, so we do stand on our testimony and support. I'd just like to point out our testimony does reference that Hawaii is the 5th largest producer of macadamia nuts. I believe the last time we testified on this, we were dealing with the macadamia felted coccinid. I think our testimony said 3rd. Okay, the core issue at hand here is there are foreign competition that's flooding the market. Our local farmers don't have anywhere to sell the macadamia nuts. We want some protection so that we can continue to promote one of our iconic crops, macadamia nuts. So we thank you for the opportunity to testify and support for our macadamia farmers here in Hawaii. Aloha.
Aloha. Mahalo for presenting and being here today. We will move on to our next testifier, Island Harvest, via Zoom.
Hello, Chairperson Gates and Vice Chair Kahaloa. Thank you for taking the time to consider our testimony. My name is Nathan Trump, testifying on behalf of Island Harvest, where I'm the manager of a macadamia nut farm located in North Kohala on the Big Island. I'm testifying in support of House Bill 1348 relating to labeling of macadamia nuts. I want to thank the committee for taking the time to consider this bill and the welfare of our state's macadamia nut farmers. I've already submitted written testimony, but I just wanted to reiterate that this bill will help clarify to consumers of macadamia nuts here in the state where the nuts are coming from when they are buying products off the shelf. The macadamia nut market has been very difficult over the past few years. There was initial slowdown in demand in 2020 during the global COVID shutdowns, and global demand has continued to be affected in recent years. Some of my fellow macadamia nut farmers have told me that they're not picking up nuts this year Some have left the industry entirely. Despite this, there's a large amount of macadamia nuts coming in from overseas, from foreign countries, and are sold under labels and brands that imply that the nuts in the products are of Hawaii origin. The truth is that they are not. With that said, we support House Bill 1348 because we feel it has the potential to clarify for both consumers and producers of consumer packaged goods of macadamia nuts to know what country of origin they're buying their products from. Thank you, and yeah, thank you.
Mahalo for testifying. We appreciate your testimony. We're going to move on to our next testifier, Edmund Olson, via Zoom.
Yes, hello. Thank you, Chairman Gates and Vice Chair Kahaloa. My name is Jeffrey Clark. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the Edmund C. Olson Trust. The Trust owns two organizations in the MacNut industry. We have the Hamakua Macadamia Nut Company, which is our processing facility that processes macadamia nuts and purchases macadamia nuts from small farmers from all over the island. And we also owned a company called Ka'u Farms Management, which farms a couple thousand acres in both the Ka'u district and in Hilo as well. Thank you for taking the time to review this bill and consider this as a way to protect farming of macadamia nuts in the state. As the president of Hamakua Macadamia Nut Company, I can tell you that the competition for macadamia nuts has driven, the competition with foreign-grown macadamia nuts has driven prices lower, especially over the last few years, given the pandemic, but it's accelerated over the last year or so, which makes it more difficult to compete in the market. And what we've seen is that the result of that competition means less macadamia nuts being able to be sold into the market, which has lessened our ability to purchase macadamia nuts from small farmers here in Hawaii. Hamakua Macadamia Nut Company focuses on 100% Hawaiian-grown macadamia nuts, always has, always will. And we see that the introduction of foreign-grown macadamia nuts into the market and marketed under using Hawaiian place names and Hawaiian imagery has drastically harmed the industry, not only at the brand level, but at the farm level, because it always trickles back to the small farmer, because they're the ones supplying mac nuts to the processors. I support the bill, 1348. With some amendments to it. I'd like to see some stronger language around the use of Hawaiian imagery and place names to really clarify for consumers where products are coming from. I know that in the bill we reference Hawaiian-grown macadamia nuts and the fact that basically as long as the package says Hawaii-grown macadamia nuts, they have to contain Hawaii-grown macadamia nuts. But if they use Hawaiian imagery and place names, but they don't use the words Hawaii-grown macadamia nuts, then they're okay. This creates a bit of confusion for the consumer, and we just want to make sure that we're covering all the bases and that we don't have a problem with communication with consumers where they know exactly where the product's coming from, and that's my testimony. Thank you.
Thank you. We will take that into consideration. Appreciate your
Thank you.
testimony. Okay, we're moving on to our next testifier, Tyler Blanco Lewis, via Zoom. Okay. I don't think he's on. So we have approximately 40 plus testimony in support with one in opposition. Is there anyone else here wishing to testify on HB 1348? Okay, seeing none. Members, any questions? Okay, seeing none. We're gonna move on to our next bill, HB 1426, relating to value-added products. And the first testifier we have on that bill is Department of Agriculture.
Good morning again, Chairperson Gates, Vice Chair Kahaloa, members of the committee. The Department of Agriculture supports this measure and provides comment that with the COVID-19 pandemic behind us, this new initiative may provide the catalyst for launching innovations in food products, processing technology, packaging processes, and creating additional food supply chain initiatives. The partners involved are all very, very involved in food production, so we do support this bill.
Mahalo for your testimony. Next testifier we have is Agribusiness Development Corporation.
Thank you, Chair Gates, Vice Chair Kahaloa. My name is Jimmy Nakatani from Agribusiness Corporation. I believe you have my testimony, and we're in strong support of this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. We're going to move on to our next testifier, University of Hawaii.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Associate VP Mike Unabasami for the community colleges. You have our testimony. We stand in support for this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your testimony. We're going to move on to our next testifier, Agriculture and Food Security Environmental Caucus. Okay. Hawaii Farm Bureau.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Brian Miyamoto here on behalf of the Hawaii Farm Bill. You have a written testimony, and we do stand on our testimony in support. Just wanted to highlight a couple of things. Value added is something that the farming community has been pushing for quite a while. Again, finding markets for some of our off grades or Bs that the farmers are producing versus not utilizing it. But what's been missing are the facilities to process the value-added products. So this innovation network would be statewide ultimately. So we can have regionalized products, new products coming out of different regions of Hawaii. So we are extremely supportive of this. We ask for your support. We think this could really assist our farmers and ranchers. And we've seen some new products recently come out with some of those Maui beef chips and Maui Nui and different things that our farmers are doing. This will help enhance that, but we want a statewide network where really we can innovate and we can really support our farming community. So thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Mahalo for your testimony. We're going to move on to our next testifier, Ulupono Initiative.
Good morning, Chair Gates, Vice Chair Kahaloa, members of the committee. Mike Komunikato here on behalf of the Ulupono Initiative. We'd like to stand on our written testimony in strong support of this measure. Like the previous testifier said, supporting our farmers with our off-grades and ways, innovative ways in which they can use it to make a profit is very beneficial for our farming community. This measure really looks to support and innovate farming in the right direction. We really need to find ways to help farmers start making the right type of living, and this is a good direction to go. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I appreciate your testimony. We're going to move on to DBED. Sorry, I think that's the wrong bill. Sorry. Okay. Oh, I think that was the last testifier, actually. There might be one more that came in late. What's the name? We have a Food Plus Policy organization via Zoom.
Aloha, Chair Gates, Vice Chair Kahaloa, and House Committee on Agriculture and Food Systems. We would like to stand on our written testimony for HB 1426, which would establish a local food innovation network in Hawaii. We are in strong support of this bill and feel that it would greatly benefit our state by providing the necessary resources and support for new food businesses to get off the ground. The creation of this network would provide local farmers, ranchers, and entrepreneurs with access to facilities and equipment, expert mentorship, and a supportive community of like-minded individuals to help navigate developing marketing strategy, certified food processing space and navigating the local food supply chain. Additionally, it would create new jobs and build a stronger, more sustainable economy for our local people. Mahalo.
Mahalo for your testimony. Okay, with that being the last testifier, is there anyone here wishing to testify on HB 1426? Okay, seeing none. Members, any questions, comments, concerns? Red Board, make it quick.
The Farm Bureau, please. Brian, question. How many value-added products do we have in Hawaii?
Wow. Good,
I mean,
good.
this is for value-added products, right?
But this is to develop new ones.
Well, how many we got? How many new ones can we do? Give us some
The answer,
examples.
thank you, Representative. How many value-added products do we have in Hawaii?
Yeah.
Not enough. That's why we need this.
Well, you got 5 then, 4.
We probably have a
10.
lot more. I mean, if you think of just previously the macadamia nut, the Hawaiian Holz chocolate macadamia nut, basically anything that converts from raw into another form. Ulupono, I think in her testimony was referencing lettuce when you process it and you put it in a clamshell. So there's a lot of things, but what we're trying to, or what this bill is addressing, Representative, is the opportunity for more. So not only to feed our people here, to add value to the farms and ranches, right? Because as we said, razor thin margins, but also to help with exporting, also to help our economy. So we think this is a great, innovative way to look at helping not just farms and ranches, but Hawaii's economy.
Totally agree. It's where I'm trying to figure out where we are versus where we're going. Like, what does another ag state similar to Hawaii have? How many value-added products have they got? Like California got 1,000 of them probably.
We've got a lot. If you come down to our farmers markets or any farmers markets, you'll see jams and jellies, lilikoi, butter. Even up in Maui, they've recently started doing more value-added with the Hashimoto persimmons, right? They make persimmon jams, they make dried persimmons. All of those are value-added products. But again, what this will do is help innovate and create new value-added food and even beverage products. Again, with the technology, with the equipment that's available, and help some of our entrepreneurs and our businesses scale up also.
Last question. This is also for off-grade products. How many off-grade products have we got, and which are the most off-grade?
Every farmer has off-grade. And it may not just be
Size,
off-grade.
shape, color? Okay.
Perfect products as far as nutrition, but maybe aesthetically, or maybe not even perfect. So to find another market, I mean, we've used the example of tomatoes, right? Maybe make it into salsa or into ketchup or into marinara sauce. But this may also lead to, Representative, farmers growing specifically for value-added products, which can increase their farm profitability. So this got a lot of opportunity, and we're very excited about this.
Terrific. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, members, any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna move on to, okay, we're moving on to HB 852 relating to state enterprise zones. First testifier we have is DBED.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Mark Ritchie, a branch chief at DBED, and DBED will stand on its written testimony in support, and I'm here for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here. On to our next testifier, Hawaii Farm Bureau.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Brian Miyamoto here on behalf of the Hawaii Farm Bureau. Hawaii Farm Bureau supports this bill. Enterprise Zone program. Roughly 50% of the participants are agriculture-related businesses. It's a high number. So this is a really support system. And this has synergy with what we just talked about the last bill, about the value-added processing. Again, an important component, we believe, to the farming community. It does have the renewable energy portion. And we just want to make sure that that portion aligns with Chapter 205. We don't think it's increasing the ability to do renewable energy. We just think that it's changing from wind to all renewable energy, which we absolutely support. We absolutely support renewable energy, but we want to make sure that it is a permissible use under Chapter 205, which does regulate what's allowed on agricultural land. But we do support this measure. Enterprise zone programs are critically important for agriculture, and as I said, about 50% of the participants are agriculture-related businesses. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Mahalo for your testimony. We're moving on to our next testifier, Hawaii Gas.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Hawaii Gas in support of this measure. This will help stimulate and develop local feedstock that can be used to produce local renewable natural gas. We support this measure and we urge you, the committee, to pass HB 852. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Mahalo for your testimony. Okay, that was the last person, individual that noted they would be here in person or via Zoom to testify. We do have testimony from the Hawaii State Energy Office in support. We also have the Hawaii Clean Power Alliance in support, as well as the Clearway Energy Organization in support. Is there anyone else here wishing to testify on HB 852? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna go for questions, comments, concerns, members, Rep. Ward.
I happen to have a question.
Okay.
Brian, Farm Bureau, please. How will you know when this succeeds? In other words, are you measuring it? Is the Department of Ag measuring it? You know, look, we want to promote ag. We want to make sure that we're making ground. But if we don't measure this, we just got a nice inspiration and an aspirational thing. Are we going to measure how many guys go into the enterprise zone? How many value-added products we added by the last bill? I don't know if it's your kuleana, but...
Thank you, Representative. That's actually DBED, and I actually have some of the metrics from 2021. They do produce reports. There are requirements that the farmers need to, or businesses need to meet. Again, it's for more rural areas to promote economic growth, to promote job creations. So DBED's probably a better entity to answer the questions, but they do have metrics and they do monitor it because you do need to qualify.
So
and there are time limits that you can be within the program.
After this bill likely passes and you come before us next year, you're going to say, hey, this did thus and such. That's aspirational on my part. And I'd love to see that next year, after this passes, that we've added so many of these value-added products, et cetera. Somebody's doing some metrics, is my point.
They are. Again, they put out annual reports that have, and I can show program metrics right here, how many companies, and they have very good data on their website.
But earlier you said you don't have a baseline of data. In order to measure, you got to have a starting and then a...
Absolutely. For this in particular, because it is the enterprise zone program, they do measure that. So they know what companies, what businesses are participating in the program.
Succeed and be able to prove your success. Thank you, Brian.
Hopefully we can bring some new products in the upcoming years for you.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, members, any other comments, questions, concerns? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna move on to our last bill, HB 1382. First up, we have Department of Agriculture.
Chair Gates, Vice Chair Kahaloa, members of the committee, Sharon Hurd on behalf of the Department of Agriculture. The department supports this measure and comments that the bill provides for a master plan to do this work and provides for a task force of 14 members. It's a very solid bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your testimony. We're gonna move on to Agribusiness Development Corporation.
Thank you, Chair, and I'm testifying on behalf of DBED also, because this is on behalf of the Chair. So we support the intent. I think it's a good idea. However, if you look at the bill, I think there's a lot of questions, but we support the intent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate your testimony. We're gonna move on to the infamous Hawaii Farm Bureau. I'm just playing.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Brian Miyamoto here on behalf of the Hawaii Farm Bureau. Thank you, Chair, for hearing this very important measure. We're dealing with I see Representative Woodson, Representative Cochran. Axis deer is a terrible nuisance, not just to the environment, but also to our farming community. Now it's become a safety hazard. I think all members on the committee on their particular islands are dealing with feral pigs. This has we believe, a win-win situation where we can help reduce the populations of these animals, but also contribute to the food banks and the community feeding programs to support our neighbors, our friends, our families who are in need. I think every one of you have participated during COVID in these food distributions. It's tragic what's out there. Hunger still exists. Chair, I've seen you many times out at Waianae Comprehensive Coast. In fact, just last month, we were out there doing feeding distributions and the long lines that still exist. So we want to take advantage of this protein. We want to reduce the populations. I've heard comments that if you're not from Maui and Molokai, you really don't know. You can see pictures, you can see videos, but until you're there, you don't know how bad this is. And now with the deer, they're coming closer to the urban core. Now they're posing not just environmental and farming risks or concerns, but also safety risks. These are large wild animals. Feral pigs are dangerous animals. So this aligns with some of the bills that you've introduced, Chair. HB 609, which is increasing meat inspectors, because in order to process, we will need more meat inspection capacity, but also meat processing capacity, which you also introduced, Chair, HB 606. So all of these bills we do believe align to help increase proteins within our food bank systems, will help reduce axis deer and other wild animals, okay? But also help increase production or harvesting or slaughter capacity for our entire livestock industry. So thank you for the opportunity to testify. Thank you for hearing this measure. We stand by for questions, Representative Ward.
We're gonna move on to our next testifier. We have Animal Rights Hawaii via Zoom. Okay, we're gonna move on. I think actually that might be. Oh, we have one more testifier that noted they will be present. That is Food Plus Policy via Zoom.
Aloha, Chair Gates, Vice Chair Kahaloa, and House Committee on Agriculture and Food Systems. We would like to stand on our written testimony. This bill is a responsible and sustainable solution that would significantly alleviate food insecurity and improve access to healthy, nutritious food in our state, especially for our isolated and rural communities on Maui and Molokai. The establishment of a task force for the development and implementation of expanding meat processing capacity in Hawaii is a critical component of this bill. This will ensure that the donated wild game is processed and distributed safely and efficiently. Mahalo.
Mahalo for your testimony. Okay, I think that is the last testifier that indicated they would be here to testify on this measure. We do have testimony from the Maui County Farm Bureau in support. Hawaii Farmers Union United in support. We also have the Hawaii Cattlemen's Council in support, and the City Council County of Maui in support. And we have two more individuals in support. Is there anyone else here wishing to testify on HB 1382? Okay, seeing none. Members, any questions?
May I, sir?
Report.
The Department of Agriculture, please. I get the impression from your testimony you're a reluctant suitor. You like it, but you just comment on it.
We said
If I
we
read the
support the
proper-
measure.
Sorry?
We said we support the measure?
But not enthusiastically, or because you say there's no state inspection
Oh,
facility.
yes.
That was one of your
right.
reservations.
The bill, if the intent of this bill is to involve state inspection of a meat facility, we were just commenting that we have to build that program back up.
I think the bill says it just has to be harvested in a safe, harvested the meat in a food-safe manner. What does that mean?
Let me call Dr. Maeda from Animal Industry, subject matter expert.
You know, the other day we had a clean shot. If you didn't have a clean shot on an animal, you couldn't sell it. Is that implied? what
That
the
would be
gentleman
access
said?
to, yeah.
Good morning. Isaac Maeda, Administrator for Animal Industry, Department of Ag. Question again about clean shot or?
Yeah, in the food-safe manner. In other
Right.
words, are we going to go through the whole bureaucracy, like if you're from the Waimea farms and all that, you got to go through that Class A inspection to do this one the same way? Or is it going to be facilitated a little bit easier?
If it's going to be offered to food, our comment was about the donor definition within the bill, and that requires inspection. And inspection for deer, currently under USDA FSIS inspection, it's a voluntary inspection because it's not covered under the Meat Inspection Act, which is, cows, those kinds of cattle, and other types of livestock. So it's an inspection by FSIS. Chair Sharon was talking about restarting the meat inspection program. So we would need, if the state's going to do an inspection, we'd have to conduct inspection in a program equal to what FSIS currently requires. We'd have to enter into a cooperative agreement. So to your question about does it have to follow the same type of requirements like a headshot and what have you. Right now, for those that don't know, under voluntary inspection, it's required to have ante-mortem and post-mortem inspection. Post-mortem is what your classic in the slaughterhouse type of, dissection and breaking down the carcass into parts. Ante-mortem is actually seeing the animal in its live state. And what's happening in the deer is that the veterinarian actually, or the inspectors, go out with the processor and witness the shot. And they're doing headshots because one of the concerns that you have is that you can have potentially end up with bullet fragments or what have you inside of the rest of the body where the cuts are coming from. And in fact, I think in Michigan, where they do have, programs for donation and what have you, there are instances where they're getting into some cases of lead contamination in the meat. So they have some safeguards that they do with the inspection of the donated meat to make sure that they're not going to end up with that kind of problem.
This is not going to interrupt.
I'm sorry?
The point is that what you're saying is not going to interrupt the value added of this bill. I mean, feeding people who are hungry, feeding people who don't
Right.
have enough protein, et cetera.
Right. The
So you're able
purpose.
to do it, even though your testimony says that, hey, that may be a.
No, we can do it, but we just want the legislature to know that we would need the support financially with positions and for training and to operate this program, to do that inspection.
Is there a dollar amount in this bill, or are you going to suggest one?
We can suggest one at some point. It all depends on how large a resurrection do we want of the meat inspection program. The suggestion is to not recapture all of the inspection being done by FSIS at this current point, but to start up something smaller and be able to grow it if it's, as needed and how it.
Does the department give a bounty on any of the access deer or wild pigs, or is it?
We have nothing now, no.
There's no
funds for that.
incentive?
No, there's nothing for that.
Interesting.
We did have a USDA wildlife study that was conducted several years ago in Molokai, where they were offering samples, basically, to collect feral animals for sampling of TB. And there was a type of bounty or, reimbursement for heads that were brought in for sampling. But that was the extent of it. There's nothing.
I would hope there'd be a way to expedite that, but that's only a comment. Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, guys. Okay, with that being said, any other questions, comments, concerns from members? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna do a brief recess with decision making to follow. Recess. Okay, we are reconvening the Committee on Agriculture and Food Systems for our Friday agenda, February 3rd, 9 a.m. in room 325 for decision making. We're gonna first start off with HB 1348. Chair's recommendation is going to be to pass this out as a HD1, defecting the date to June 30th, 3000. We're also gonna take amendments from the Hawaii MacNut Association regarding labeling origins and to clarify DOA's concerns. Any questions, comments, concerns, members? If not, Vice Chair for the vote.
Mahalo, Chair. Voting on HB 1348. Chair recommends to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Cochran.
Aye.
Representative Lowen.
Aye.
Representative Peruso, excused. Representative Woodson. Representative Ward. Chair, your measure is adopted.
Thank you, members. Moving on to HB 1426 relating to value-added products. Chair's recommendation is going to be to pass this out as a HD1. We're going to make some technical amendments needed for clarity, consistency, and style. We'll also be defecting the date to June 30th. We're going to blank out the appropriation, and based on the comments from the county of Big Island, we are going to be adding on the island of Hawaii to section 2 under 2B and changing the Hilo site and adding a Kona location. Any questions, comments, concerns, members? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Voting on HB 1426, Chair recommends to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Noting the excused absence of Representative Peruso, are there any members voting no? Any members voting with reservations? Chair, your measure is adopted.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Moving on to HB 852 relating to state enterprise zones. Chair's recommendation is just going to be to pass this out as a HD1 with the defective date of June 30th, 3000. Any questions, comments, concerns, members? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Voting on HB 852, Chair recommends to pass with amendments, noting the excused absence of Representative Peruso. Any members voting no? Any members voting with reservations? Chair, your measure is adopted.
Thank you, members. Moving on to HB 1382. Chair's recommendation is going to be to pass this out as a HD1. We're going to defect the date to June 30th. We also will be changing some of the language referring to co-chairs and a chairperson for the meat processing task force, which it doesn't specify which members should serve as co-chair or chairperson. So we're going to allow for the task force to decide who will be the chairperson for this task force. We'll also be blanking out the appropriation, and as was mentioned in the Hawaii Farm Bureau's testimony, we do have measures to increase our meat inspection capabilities for our state, and so we will also be moving those measures forward to support these efforts of meat donations in our communities. With that being said, any questions, comments, concerns?
Comment.
Board?
Excellent bill, thank you.
Thank you.
Is that for brevity okay?
Yes, I appreciate your comment. We'll take that into consideration. Okay, Vice Chair for the vote.
Voting on HB 1382, Chair elects to pass with recommendation, with amendments. My apologies. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Knowing the excused absence of Representative Peruso, are there any members voting no? Any members voting with reservations? Chair, your measure is adopted.
Okay, this meeting is adjourned. Happy Aloha Friday, everyone.